guys, welcome. Now, I don't know about where you are, but over here it is really hot right now. And hot time calls for beach going, right? And here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that we need a nice, practical, but stylish beach bag. You know, to celebrate the start of the beach season. And I happen to have a 10-minute tutorial that I think you're going to love. It's a simple beginner-level sewing project that's also a lot of fun to make. And that's the best kind, isn't it? Oh, and did I mention that it's an XL beach bag? Because come on, we need XL when going to the beach. You know, there's just so much we need to bring with us, right? A small beach bag just doesn't make sense. Okay, here's what we need. A tiny little bit of ribbon, you know, something like this. And this little thing, you know, I call it a round ring. You know, you can add a hook or a key ring or whatever you want. Next, two 20 by 26 inch rectangles for the back and the front of your bag, and two equally sized rectangles for the lining of your beach bag. You know, you can pick the same fabric. I am using a cute polka dot fabric for contrast. And you'll also need two 15 by 60 inch strips for the straps of your bag. And again, you can use the same fabric as the front and the back, like I'll be doing, or pick the lining fabric or even a third fabric if you like. You know, it will look cute either way. And last, but certainly not least, you will need an 11 by 22 inch rectangle for an inside pocket. Because beach bags absolutely need pockets. You know, for the small stuff, you don't want to have to fish out of the big bag. Am I right? And for this, I picked the same fabric as the outside, but again, you pick whatever looks best for you. And this is exactly where we'll start, by our pocket. First, we are making a top seam by folding our fabric twice, and then you can pin it or press it or do whatever you like to it before sewing. I'm going to pin it. So we've made two folds, and now we are going to sew all along the edge. Be right back. Now that this is sewn, we are making some folds around the rectangle, and this time I'm going to just press them into place before adding it to our back. So we just fold it like so, and one fold is enough. No need for two folds like we did at the top, because this is going to be added to the bag and remain completely hidden. And again, we could have pinned it, no problem. I'm just showing you, you know, the different ways we have to prepare our pocket for what's going to happen next. We're just using our iron to mark our folds and make our lives easier. And now that we have our pocket nice and folded, we are going to add it to the lining of our bag. Okay, so now that we have added this to the middle, we are going to pin it in place, and we are going to sew all the way around except for this entrance, of course. Because if we did that, it wouldn't be a pocket. Wouldn't really work with it. It would just be like a panel or something. Still look cute, but not very practical. Okay guys, this is our pocket all nice and sewn, and as you can see, we chose, you know, the middle of the fold to sew to make sure it doesn't come off, okay? All there's left to do to this pocket is make two seams like here and maybe here, you know, so that our big pocket turns into smaller pockets. I mean, you could live like one big pocket, but I prefer to have smaller pockets, you know, for my phone, my keys, you know, just to keep them separate and safe. I'm just going to add two here and here, maybe, I don't know, measure this out a little bit to make it as straight as I possibly can. Hoping that it won't show too much. Yeah, just a small, tiny little. You can use your, you know, your disappearing marker, whatever you prefer. I think this will be enough. Be right back. And here we go, our three little pockets ready to go. Here's something I always like to add to my bags. It is a tiny detail that makes all the difference, particularly for beach bags, you know, that don't have a zipper like this one. It's a simple ribbon with a hook or a ring on it you can use to keep whatever you want in place, like your keys or your phone if it has a strap, or your watch. You know, that stuff you want to make sure it doesn't fall off the bag or go anywhere or get sand all over it. That's what this is for. And again, you can use something like this. You can use a keyring, you can use a hook, whatever you want, okay? This is what I have at the moment, so this is what I'm going to use. So we just need a little bit of ribbon. Doesn't need to be all of this. Something, I think like this would be enough. Just eyeball it. There's really no need to be very precise. We just fold our ribbon once and twice. And now we are going to pin it to one of our pockets. Let's see, maybe this one. And now we are going to sew over it a couple of times, and it will be that. So now that we have sewn on this cute little ribbon, we just pop this on it, and now you can place here whatever you want, okay? And it won't move anywhere. Just goes inside, and that's done. So our next step is taking care of the straps real quick. So we just get our iron and we fold the strap in half like so, and we press. Okay, after this, we open it and we fold again on both sides. So first you have this one, let's press, and then this side. And now we fold it back to the initial size, and we are going to sew on both sides of our strap. And here we go, guys, 2 straps for our beach bag, and we just, did it all again for the second strap, exactly like we did in the first one. Okay. Now it's time to sew our outside fabric together. And look at this, such a gorgeous fabric. Oops, need a bigger zoom. Okay, now we're going to sew the outside of our bags together, and look at this gorgeous fabric. Isn't it wonderful? Oh, I'm going to love taking this to the beach. It's also XL as promised. So here's what we do. We place our outside fabric right sides together, and now we are going to sew all around the sides and the bottom, leaving the top open, okay? Now you can pin it if you want, but I think I'm just going to go with it. Okay guys, so now that it's sewn, let me just tell you, you don't want to use the 1/4 of an inch foot for this, okay? You want to use a wider foot, and this is the one I'm using. It's quite large, as you can see, because, this is meant to be sturdy stuff. You want this to be as sturdy as possible. You want to reinforce your seams. You want to make sure this never rips, okay? Regardless of what you put inside it, you want it to last a lifetime. 1/4 of an inch is just too thin of a seam, it's easily rippable, and we do not want that. And I guess we could just leave it all as is, but for me, I like a deep bottom for my beach bags, so that's what we're doing. Okay guys, so we are drawing in both bottom corners. We are drawing 2.75 squares, just like so. So here's one. You want to count it from the seam, okay? Not from where your fabric begins, because that's much further away than we want. And now we mark it, and we need to mark these squares on both sides of our bag, okay? Not just one of them, but both, because we need those markings. And we need to be able to see them clearly. So one. Now this is for the bottom, okay? Just the bottom. Okay, so now we are going to take this corner here. We're going to pinch it, and we are going to do the exact same to this one. So we're going to make a sort of a triangle, if you will. And again, you can press it if you like, you can pin it, just leave those seams nice and open. Whoops, that's not open. And we are going to sew along this line. Okay, next step is trimming our excess. So we are going to cut it here, just like so. The second one is out. And again, we did this right sides together, and as you can see, this gives us a bottom. A nice little deep bottom, which is exactly what we wanted. See? Deep bottom. Perfect. This is the bottom of our bag, And that's how we made that happen. Okay, and now we're going to do the exact same things we just did for our lining. So we are going to sew them right sides together. Okay, this is very important. You do not want to sew this any other way than right sides together. We're going to sew it all around, and then we are going to chop the corners to make a bottom. Be right back. Almost there, guys. Here is our inside with our pocket and our bottom. Nice and sewn. Now we are going to sew our straps onto our outside fabric on the wrong side, okay? Don't forget to measure it perfectly. So your straps will be parallel and at the same exact distance from the back. Also, make sure to keep the straps perfectly straight, okay? I have been known to sew them twisted and it is a pain. Okay, now we turn it around and you do the exact same thing for the other side. But now I'm thinking we probably don't need to measure it, famous last words, because we are going to use the first ones as a guide. And we want them to be exactly parallel, okay? So this one goes here. Remember, no twisting. This one goes right here. Overlapping, perfect. Okay, and now we are going to sew. Okay, now that our straps are in place, we need to put all the pieces together. So our outside goes inside our lining, right sides together as usual. So let me just turn this one around. Gorgeous. So cute. I am loving this, guys. Okay, so we turn our outside to the right side and we put our outside inside our lining, right sides together. Be mindful of that pocket we've got going on over there. And here we are. So now what we're going to do is we're going to sew our top all around, sewing these two layers together. But do not forget to leave a small gap so you will be able to turn it inside out, okay? And this needs to be a gap that fits your hand. If it's too narrow, you may rip your seam or just stress your fabric and it will look awful, you know, so just make sure there's more than enough room, okay? So what we need to do is we put our seams together. We can pin it, I think we should. You know, it's a lot of fabric to be moving around. We don't want the straps to be on the inside of the fabric, so the straps go along with the right side of the fabric. And if you'd like, since we are kind of twisting the fabric because of the straps, we can just do that too. You know, press this too to make sure it won't pull the fabric down, because the straps are kind of heavy. You know, this is a heavy material, but it kind of needs to be, you know, if it's a beach bag, you want it to be sturdy. So using these kinds of fabrics make all the sense. But you need to make sure that the strap isn't pulling down on the fabric, right? And the best way to do it is to fold it like this and then just pin it in place so it will be smooth sailing. Okay, here we go. Let's sew. Okay guys, I almost forgot about our gap, but I was still in time to leave something like this. Okay, my whole hand fits there. So now I'm just going to turn this all inside out like so. Real careful not to stress this fabric, because if you do, it will be wonky no matter what you do to it afterwards. Okay, so we just do it nice and smoothly. Here we go. Oh, look at that. So we put the inside the bag, and it is starting to look like a stunning beach bag, just as we like it. We have one corner and we have the other corner, and now we just do it like that. Okay, there is a final step for us, which is to sew again around the top to close the gap, to close our gap, and of course to just tuck it all in place and make sure it just doesn't move around, okay? It just adds a nice little touch to the whole thing and it keeps it in place. So all good things. So here we go. Now you want to make sure you've got this fabric as divided as possible. Oops, I forgot a pin. so glad I remembered it before closing the gap. It would be a big pain if I hadn't. Removing the pin, trust me, it has happened. Now, you can pin the right sides, you know, if you want to make sure you don't have to worry about dividing the fabric properly as you're sewing. So you can just, you can just come here, fold it before you sew, and then you just sew around it as you wish. Here is our pocket, so cute. Okay, so what we're doing here is we are dividing our fabric nicely. So outside fabric, lining, and we are sewing all around, okay? Let's go. And this is it, you guys. We are ready for the beach. Simple and stylish as promised. Every time I make this, I just want to make more and more and more of them. You know, it is crazy addictive. I've made it for friends and family. Any chance I get to make this, I will. And I hope you will make them too and get as addicted to it as I am. Thank you for doing this with me. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I had a blast. And I will see you very, very soon. Bye bye.